Hey everyone, thanks for joining. John here, and happy New Year's Eve, December 31st. Software engineer with about 10 years of experience. Today we're working on an open source project called Aria's Tale. Aria's Tale was originally a TRPG toolset. So kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, but an AI assistant. And it works by providing game lore and context to GPT-4. And then you can basically prompt GPT-4 and it will run the rules for you. So it provides some tools and some context to GPT-4. One of the things that we started doing was generating a bunch of art. So it's a generative AI experiment, originally with the gaming tools, and then generating a bunch of art. In the future, hopefully we even get into music. On the channel, we've tried doing video. The video tools are not there yet, unfortunately, but in the future, that will be a thing. And so all this art is really, really cool. So we started working on a gallery. And in fact, you can roll random art. And I'll do a live demonstration here in a bit. But basically, with all this art and with these game characters who are battling, I said, why don't we make a TCG? In fact, the TCG is simpler and quicker than TRPG strategy battle turns. Like rolling a battle or an encounter can be time consuming. And one of the feedback that I've gotten from players is, hey, this is a ton of fun, but we have to like get together and play, and it can be time consuming. And so is there a way we could accelerate play? And so we use little heuristics. One is just putting like a stopwatch on your turn. Like you need to take your turn within 20 minutes or whatever. Yeah, a turn would be taking up to 20 minutes. And another is async play. So you can play Aria's Tale by comment. So you can go, and this is, by the way, this is explained. ariastale.com, if you go to the game manual, there's the quick start guide. And it's open source, so please do feel free to submit some formatting improvements. It does, this is a heading. If you inspect it, it's a heading, but the heading text is the same like font weight and font size as the ordinary paragraph, which I don't think is ideal. So maybe we'll fix that even today, or you can also, that seems like a good first issue. So one heuristic is just like put a stopwatch on your turn. And another is async play, or play by post and play by comment, okay? And there's also links in here that are not underlined. Actually, in my current branch, I already fixed that. So if I go to localhost, quick start, here you can see there's the underlined links. So we'll contribute that. And I'll go ahead and do some style improvements today. Okay, and so you can play by comment. You can play Aria's Tale by going to the official TikTok account and looking at the pinned video. You can go do this right now. If, you know, as much as I'd love you to be here for my stream, if you just want to play, click over to the tiktok.com/Aria's Tale game. Thanks for the likes. Zaref, what's up? Is knowing metaprogramming useful? It can be. It can be. I try to avoid it, actually. When you want to use MyPyC, that can be a pain, basically. And it's fairly, it's not a language agnostic paradigm. So metaprogramming is going to be particularly helpful in like Python and like certain languages. But there's like in web development, you actually don't need to know metaprogramming at all. It's like a concept you don't even need to learn. It's kind of like OOP in that regard. You can get your first programming role without knowing anything about OOP, as much as people like to talk about it. It's totally not needed. Thank you so much for the likes. Okay, so you can play by comment, but that's sort of strange. As fun as it is, it's sort of strange. And with TCGs, it's a familiar paradigm. It introduces a possible monetization strategy for Aria's Tale, which as of yet had been absent. So getting collectors in the game. And you can have quicker games without sort of these like strange it's like an elegant way to have a quicker game, basically. You don't need to just limit a turn. Turns are just naturally faster because there are less factors to deal with when you play TCG. And in fact, the Aria's Tale card game is remarkably simple. If you compare it to Magic the Gathering, it's simpler than that. If you compare it to Pokemon, it's simpler than that. You don't need to worry about the energy. Basically, there's no tapping system. There's no energy system. And then in Yu-Gi-Oh, some of the strange mechanics, there's like a sacrifice system in Yu-Gi-Oh. There's not a tacked on sacrifice system. In Aria's Tale, you can do sacrifices if your card allows it. You know, maybe you have basically there's just battlers and items. That's it. Battlers and items. So there's not magic cards and trap cards and this and that and this and that. There's just battlers and items. And maybe your battler or your item sacrifices for some reason. In one case, there is like, let's look at the beverage goblin. So here's the beverage goblin. Here's a young beverage goblin. Back at it later, 3 for 3. Okay, cool. Meta programming, 7 hours long. Do you think I should just finish it, then move to JS, or come back for it later? Do you get a certificate that you can put on your resume? If it's 7 hours and it's the difference between having a credential on your resume and not, I would say bite the bullet and do it. But if this is not something you're going to put on your resume, save yourself 7 hours. Like, what's the point? That's my take. So here's a young beverage goblin. And this character would be able to do some light potions, or it could sacrifice itself, quote unquote, really just sort of grow up is the idea, and get older and become like a more capable beverage goblin, and then even this like super powerful beverage goblin. And maybe there's additional, maybe you need to play additional cards to evolve into this state, as it were. Okay, so this is an example where we have some art, and this was like, just as art, this performed very well on TikTok. Like tens of thousands of views with this beverage goblin concept. So the metaprogramming thing is a Udemy course. Yeah, I don't care too much if it's a Udemy course. I care if you're going to mention it on your resume. Because your resume will need keywords. So those keywords can be added through courses that you take, jobs that you've been in, projects that you've executed, certifications that you have. Any of those would be options to get keywords on your resume. I strongly encourage you to get a LinkedIn skills certificate in Python and put that on your resume along with a project instead of a Udemy course. I think the Udemy course will be less impressive. All right, cool. So that gives you the background what we're working on today. This thing called Aria's Tale. We are going to specifically do actually the TCG is going to be the last thing that we do. We need to implement the gallery first of all. So the current work stream is the gallery. And while I was doing this gallery work, it dawned on me that we should make a TCG, but that sort of goes to the back of the queue, as it were. So the first thing is character portraits. And the portraits are in the repository already, so the content is there, but we need a way to, and these are all like card art. These are all going to be cards. Here's Calum, for example. So this is one character portrait, but I want a gallery view on the website to be able to browse these searchable images, and I want to be able to search them. So these images will build out a data model. They will be tagged. And then you can see the data model evolving from a simple image to a trading card, because initially it's just an image, then it's an image with a title and a caption and a unique ID, and then it's an image with a title, a caption, a unique ID, and a power level. And voila, it is a TCG battler and a rarity, right? Zarlev says, I'm a go code now. Thanks for the advice. Thanks for being here, and I appreciate the likes. Thank you so much. See you later. We are also streaming over to YouTube and Twitch if you're on TikTok. Link is in my bio. You can head over there. See, we have a couple people over there at the moment. Welcome all. Cool. So let's dive into some code. One last plug would be to go follow the TikTok, basically. You know what? I should add a quick link to the TikTok up here. Let's do that. All right, so Command-Shift-F, game manual. And we are grepping this string in order to find the top nav. Here we are. And we are going to add a link to the TikTok just right here. So let's close this. We'll stick on localhost, publish on itch and Steam maybe. So after we build out the TCG, we can wrap it in Electron. We can wrap it in Electron and publish it to the game store. So that's an item a little further out, but it's a new issue on the GitHub. And if you have experience with Electron, you're welcome to go ahead and take a crack at it. So here we are on localhost. And we can see I have the TikTok link now. Click it and it opens up. Great. So that works. We'll commit that by itself. Let me unstage everything and then stage just the small top nav by itself. TikTok link and nav. Bunch of narrative changes here. I can go ahead and stage some of these. So some of these I need to add a bit of content. Here I can just say to do. Why not? Just so there's something on the page. Or maybe I'll say coming soon. Coming soon. So the issue is if I ship this to prod, a user would have seen a blank page, but now they will see coming soon. We'll say Arc Ezekiel coming soon. I have a scheduled play session tomorrow, and this is another thing that I want to do. So 5 people have signed up to the website, but I don't understand their intent. Like, are they just waiting for the browser game, or would they have an interest in playing a live session and joining a stream, right? So that is something else that I'd like to do today is user preferences, enable them to say, hey, by the way, here's what I actually want to do. Arc Ezekiel is coming soon. Arc Lunara has, like, we are already like 4 sessions deep. I just haven't written it up. Arc Lunara summary coming soon. Let me know in the chat. You can just DM me or you can just leave a comment if you are interested in potentially joining a live session and playing a character. By the way, the audience, so the chat, can always impact the game world. So you don't need to like join a Zoom or anything like that. You can just play in the chat. And if I get 5 people in today's stream, I will pivot from technical development into we can just do a game today. So this will be, what's the work here? The work here is docs moving, or like more, this will be nested narrative content. Nested narrative content. So what we did is there was previously a narrative.md. Now there's a narrative folder. And what used to be narrative MD is now arc Aria. That's the first arc. And we just renamed it and then moved it into this folder. So that's why there's a bunch of file changes. But basically, instead of having one massive narrative file, it's broken up by arc. And there are narrative files, and then there are technical prompt logs, which are, when I'm using GPT, these are the prompts that I literally entered into GPT that resulted in basically in the narrative. Cool. We can just go ahead and do some of these. 66, young bev goblin, young beverage. Just clean up these commits, basically. This will be 67. I guess we can say standard beverage goblin. And then here's 68, old wired, old crazy wired beverage goblin. Clean up a few of these commits right here. Feet, bev goblin. Okay, so those will be some more gaming cards. We're up to almost 70 now. One of the really cool things about this game, you can play it with an ordinary poker deck. This is another docs change. Basically, the change here is previously I had items held. So previously, the technical JSON described the character items held. This is for the TRPG, not the TCG, by the way. We provide this template data to GPT-4 to instruct it the shape of the JSON we want for our game. And it's very good at, this is called one-shot prompting. You give it one example, and it's very good at copying that example. And I had items held, but it did not have items equipped. So people would be like holding a helm, and it's like, it should be equipped. Because in some cases we would like loot like win a battle and loot the bandits or goblins or whatever we beat, and you'd have like 4 daggers. Well, you're not wielding 4 daggers, so we need to distinguish what you're holding versus what's actually equipped, right? So that is really the only change in this metagame instruction. So this is docs items equipped in JSON, and there you could have some token compression there. I could just say equipped. I don't know that I need the items underscore, but whatever. This README, these were moved into the narrative files. So this is docs, rm, dupe, narrative, info from README. Okay. Push that up. And here is where we are supporting the nesting on the TypeScript side. So just because we nested the markdown files does not mean that the website will render them. We can see this maybe right now. Yeah. So if I go to the game manual, it 404s. So that's a technical thing we need to fix right now. Basically, this file doesn't know how to look up, doesn't know how to construct the index now that it's nested, basically. So one thing that we did, we can see we are deleting the file name.ts and adding ... file name.tsx within the brackets. This is the next JS syntax to show that we're going to have recursively nested folders. So we can stage the deletion, stage deletion of the index. We don't need a special index anymore. The current website is still expecting that index. We deleted it. That's why it's 404ing. But when we're done, there are going to be automatically generated indexes at every directory. So there's the narrative folder, the prompt log folder. We're going to generate those indexes, and we're going to use this generic index page component instead of a specific index. Does that make sense? So this will be implemented 3 times at the root, for the narrative folder, and for the prompt log folder. Because it's duplicated 3 times, that's why we want to extract it to its own component instead of just making like 3 different files, basically. Okay, so there is a doc content page, which would be like your gameplay instructions. And then there's a doc index page, which is that folder. If you hit a folder, you show the index page. So you're traversing the directory tree. If you hit a folder, you show the index page. If you hit a file, a markdown file, you render the content as HTML. So that is what this file does. And here I wrote it up at the top. This file handles the game manual pages. Basically, we recursively map the docs folder to the route. Okay, so here's the docs folder. Let me collapse some of these folders so you can view this better. This is all open source Aria's tail repository. Okay, so here's some of the markdown files, and you can see they're under this docs folder. So this file name TSX will translate those markdown directory structure into viewable HTML pages. That's the whole thing that we're doing here. And we're using something called React Markdown for this. Thanks for the follow. Quick reminder, you can see the full screen over on YouTube or Twitch. Link is in the bio. Okay, so I tore out some of the content and made these generic doc index page and doc content page. And that's basically where we're at. And we can see that it's not 100% working. If I recall correctly, let's see. So the game manual itself is boofed, but if I recall correctly, the markdown pages are still working. Yeah. Okay. So in this conditional here, and we can get rid of the console.log, that's working now. We don't need the brace. We can just fat arrow directly at the ternary. Save that. Prettier reformats on save. Oliver Yee says consistency. Absolutely. Happy New Year's. Same to you, Oliver. Thank you for being here. Hope you all have a ton of fun. Okay, and so the content page is working, which is kind of funny because the content page is the one that has a lint issue here. Prefer using nullish coalescing instead of the logical OR, as it is a safer operator. Cool. Why not? Okay, so we solved the lint issue. Let's do a quick regression test. We'll just refresh the page here. Great, looks good. So the real issue, I need to fix this doc index page. Something is wrong with it. It could be in get files, get static paths, get static props. So at build time, we're at build time. That's why it's get static paths, get static props. At build time, we are scanning the directory and building the HTML. And then at runtime, it's lickety split, lightning fast, pure HTML. No silly stuff. Shook that tree, minimized the minimizables, and it's super great. If it works. Like, it's super great if it works. So we basically want to troubleshoot through the technical flow here. And one really, really important thing is going to be this. Get static props. I think it's either get static props or get static paths. I forget which one comes first. Here, let's do this. And so we're trying to figure out the technical flow, and then we're trying to make sure that all of those steps are hit in the case of the index. So it looks like this got hit. If I put some other stuff there, the ASDF shows up. So it's getting hit on this markdown file, but we want to test the directory case. So the manual itself. So let's put some white space in here so that if it prints again, we know it's from this case. Refresh that. And it doesn't even show. So we don't even get to get static paths. Do we get to get static props? Chevelle, we love Chevelle, man. I'm going to be making a phone app, and I'm using React Native or Flutter. What would be better? Use React Native, please. Learn React, not Python. Learn React, not Flutter. React is the more generalizable skill set. React Native is not a great developer experience. I get it. I get it. It has its problems, but it beats the snot out of Flutter. So we are not logging 1, 2, 3 either. We're just not getting there. Okay, so we're not doing get static props. We're not doing get static paths. What about get files? Zaza. I'm getting none of it. I'm getting none of it at runtime. We can try building. So I'm using the developer server, which is different than the actual server. Let me npm run start, which would run the literal server, and that fails. Interesting, interesting. Build failed. Found a page without a component as a default export over here. Oh, okay. All right, so this is like a whip file that it's pissed because I have like a whip file. Okay, that's fine. Const standard deck tables. We're just going to basically stub this. Yeah, fine. It can return that. Any advice? What's the question? Sorry, I didn't understand that. I thought you said earlier, you said best advice to be consistent. I'm learning front end and only doing it an hour a day. Oh, okay. I thought you were making a statement that the best advice is to only do an hour a day. That's why I didn't respond. So you're asking me, what is the best advice to be consistent? It's going to depend on you. You got to figure out what motivates you. So the best advice is do some self-reflection. Figure out what motivates you and then lean into that. So if you're motivated by relaxation, then you need to persuade yourself that a software development career is going to let you work remotely and like be less stressful than whatever it is you're doing today. If you're motivated by money, target high paying jobs, software engineers right there. If you're motivated by helping people, tell yourself technology is one of the best ways to help people. And just figure out what motivates you and lean into it. If you find whatever it is that motivates you, like is not compatible with tech, then you shouldn't be doing this. Like maybe your motivation, like what if your motivation is, I want to be, I want to grow corn. And not only do I want to grow corn, I'm opposed to technology in agriculture. I want to grow corn the old-fashioned way by hand with a plow hand and not any kind of robot AI nonsense. There's something really cool about, digging with my hands. I'm glad you found what motivates you. You probably should not be coding. Like, power to you, bro. Do you mentor people? Yes, I do. Check out latterly.io. Link is in my bio, and you can schedule a session. Kurtza, KRZTA. In your opinion, where's the best place to learn? Latterly.io. Check my bio. Latterly.io. Fully open source. It's better. I think it's better than anything else out there. Fully open source. It gives you a step-by-step checklist to learn to code, social network, and land your job. Some of the things that's going to stick out here: one, you're going to be networking from the beginning. Others don't do that. It's super critical to land your job. Two, you're going to be building a portfolio from day one. Others don't do that. It's super important. You're going to be targeting the most hireable skills. You're going to be just doing all the right things to just knock the pants off of the job search. Solidity is absolutely not a good, if you're trying to get a job, like what are you trying to do? I mean, if you want to write custom contracts on the blockchain, Solidity is great. If you want to get a job, it's not great. Do you teach just front end? No. It's full stack. Cursa says, write my own contracts. Okay, yeah, then Solidity is great. I don't know where the best place to learn it would be though. So my general advice is look for a boot camp. There's research that shows this is a good idea basically, but I'm not familiar with like a Solidity boot camp. Here, let's take a quick look. At the risk of getting slightly off track, we'll dedicate 2 minutes to this. So we'll look for the best reviewed and choose technology. Can I select Solidity over here? Maybe I'll just go cryptocurrency in general. Can I pick Solidity specifically? We hate pop-ups, don't we? That's so annoying. All right, let's go cryptocurrency. Wow. Okay, so out of, what was it? Out of 900, out of over 900 boot camps, there are 30 that do crypto. Bright side is there's crypto boot camps. None of these, maybe the Vertical Institute, none of these meet the criteria for prestige. This place is close though. Here, let's sort these. Sort by most reviewed. Rutgers, I don't know. So the prestige criteria would say you need a minimum of 400 reviews. None of these providers are meeting the prestige criteria. Still, this one's close. And it's a 4.9. It's pretty darn good. And so maybe you just develop some risk tolerance. I mean, if you're going into crypto, you probably already have some risk tolerance, right? So maybe you go down, you can check out these two. If they work, great. If they don't, maybe you're risky enough to dive into these. I could not in good conscience recommend any of these that have under 100 reviews. But the ones that are like maybe these are all worth checking out. I don't know. I'm in a boot camp right now studying JavaScript after completing HTML, CSS. Is these okay for a junior? That's perfect. That's exactly what you should be studying. I'll check them out. Thank you. You're very welcome. Thank you for being here. Happy New Year's Eve. Okay, let's get back to it, eh? So we're going to run dev. To the person that said, I'm in a boot camp at the moment studying JavaScript, your profile picture is solid black and your username is a fist emoji. So that makes it really hard to talk to you, right? So I'd love to have a conversation with you, but you might want to change your socials. I'll just call you fist emoji for now. How about that? Fist bro, fisty bro, punch bro. No, that's not punch bro, is it? Hold on. Are you secretly punch bro? Are you like a punch bro alt account? There's a creator called Punch Bro. He's actually awesome. Y'all should go check him out. I wonder if this is a Punch Bro alt account. Where could I talk to you, bro? Pull up to the Discord. So laterally, whenever you sign up, the first thing it has you do is join the Discord, and you can always come chat at the Discord. But what I was going to mention, you asked, should you learn JavaScript, and is it good for juniors? That's exactly what I'm using right here. So technically, this is TypeScript, but TypeScript is basically just like fancy JavaScript. So it would be directly applicable to what we're doing today, which is a good sign that it's useful, right? Okay, so we want to fix that 404. We'll go ahead and, I really hate this standard deck table. Here, I'll say, I'll add it coming soon. Coming soon. And then we're going to stage this, but it's not ready yet, so we just might as well not even. So what did we try so far? We tried console.logging all of the logical tree tips, and none of them were logging. 1, 2, 3 doesn't show, ABC doesn't show. What else do we got? ASDF, Zaza. What it's indicating to me is that this file is not even being tapped. Here, let's try one last thing. Oh, sorry, I don't want to return. I just want to console.log here. Can I do that? Return keyword. Is it somehow getting to that page? You should use the app directory. Nah, it's not stable enough. It's not stable enough. Okay. It's not getting there. So we can see right here is the route that it's picking up. Why is it picking up the next auth route? What makes it not stable enough? I don't know. Have you used it? Like the thing just crashes sometimes. There's like plugins that don't work well with it. I don't know. I mean, maybe if I re-implement this in the app directory, it would work just fine. But the risk alone is like I don't even want to bother because like I know this is going to work. It's like a safer option. You feel me? We use AppDir for a large web app serving millions of users a day. Yeah, the number of users is not the stability concern; it's the development experience. So, Shri, you've literally never seen the broken compile screen with the app directory? Like, how long have you been using it? Be real. Like, millions of users is not the problem. Once the thing compiles, it's super safe. The problem is, yeah, the problem is not at serving users. That's not the problem. Yeah, if you've been using it since release and you haven't seen the developer experience issues, you're just like, I don't know, you're just not paying attention or something. They've been very well documented that it was like lots and lots of developers have been complaining about it. But I'm glad it's working for you. That's great news. Okay. So what I want to try now, I think I'm just going to ask GPT. So somehow the router is not getting here, basically. The router is not even checking this ellipsis file. Let's go line by line. Oh, let's see. Yeah, let's go line by line. So we go to the docs directory, we get the files, but the root itself is not going to be any of these. So we get the paths from these. And then we add the directories. I'm not really sure that I need to be doing a 2-pass here. Like, I think I could just do the 1-pass. In any case, we get the files under the root and the folders under the root. And then we add the root itself. So I feel like this is maybe the issue, except that we were not even getting here. Let's push it twice. Let's do this. We can see a comment that I use this magic string. Magic strings are never great. I tried to use an empty reference to be the root, and I thought that didn't work, but let's try it again. And what else can we do? Let's try a slash path. Let's try an empty string, and let's try a slash path. All of these, what we're trying to do, this is a guess and check approach. We're trying to say, hey, compiler, when you're at the root, acknowledge the ellipsis file. How many years have you been coding? I remember you said you became comfortable after 2 years. Yeah, that's true. I've been coding for like 10 years and much more comfortable after the second year than the first year, for sure. None of these are seeming to work. I think we're going to need that index page after all. It might just be the case that the root itself is like a special case that we have to give special handling, maybe. Thanks for the rose. All right. Ooh, you know what? Hold on. I don't think I have this. Yeah, okay. I don't think this matters, but just to like tell GPT that we were listening to it. Let's give that a try. So we're going to add this block as well. Is get static prop called in the front end? No, it's not. It's full stack. It's called at build time. That's why it's static props. Please run the code. We've been running the code. So this 404 is what's showing up currently, unfortunately. I mean, you can look at the main website here. That looks great. But, and you can see it's coming through the TRPC. Nope. Compiled this, whatever. Compiled root. Good. Let me go to the gallery. Okay, here's the gallery. What language? It's TypeScript. Hey, Antonio, thanks for the roses. We got 3. That's awesome. Looks like, was it 4? Yeah, thank you so much. You should use npm run dev for dev server. Shri, I did that. Did you not see that I did that? I already did that, Shri. So anyway, so the gallery is working, and we can see here compiled gallery. So when it has that compiled expression, that's the acknowledgement that your dev server is receiving the request. So here I went to the home. Here I went to the home and it says compiled / that is the path reference for that homepage. Okay, and so then I go to gallery and we get, hey, like, ooh, nope, I should have seen gallery here. Is it only going to do it once? Ah, okay, that's a good tip. I thought it was going to show up every time. It looks like it's only compiling just in time incrementally. So here I get compiled gallery. Now if I go to the root, I should see compiled home. I do. Now if I go back to the gallery, I will not see it, I guess, is what I'm seeing now. Okay, so the question is, when I go to the game manual, what happens? Thank you for the follow. So here we 404, that's fine, but did it even try? It didn't even try, which means this ellipsis file is not even routing the request. It's not like the code fails. It's like it's not even trying. You see what I'm saying? So we have a routing issue, basically. A surefire way to fix this routing issue is to create an index.tsx, and that idea is growing on me. But I do think it would be nice if we could just have one ellipsis file that handles all of the files. So I'm going to make one last request to GPT, and you can see I chatted to GPT earlier today before the stream a bit. Let's give it one more shot, and if it doesn't work, we'll make the we'll go back to making the index file. So I'm going to say, here is the current state of my ellipsis ellipsis file. How do you spell ellipsis? Let's say of my nested docs handler page. Poppy Sensei, what's up? We'll annotate the language. I'm going to say, when I visit the request isn't even acknowledged by the server. Where are your routes being defined on the server? They're implicitly defined. It's Next.js. So they're defined by their location in the directory. And you have your finger on the problem, right? So the problem is, by virtue of being at pages game manual ellipsis, I should be catching all requests besides standard deck table URL. That's what I expect, but my expectation is clearly wrong, right? My expectation is clearly wrong because it's not catching the index. Well, we know that index files are sort of special. And so I'm increasingly suspecting that It's just an edge case, and we just need to brute force plug that hole. But we'll see. Let's see what GPT says. So I gave GPT the latest page code, and I say when I visit, the request isn't even acknowledged by the server. There is some routing problem. It seems there is some routing problem. Let me say the request isn't even acknowledged by the server, and no logs are reported. Okay. You just need to call game manual / something. Yes, it's working for that, Shri. It's already working for that. I'm dealing with the root itself. The root itself is the edge case here. Should I go ahead and create an index.tsx, or is there some other way to ensure the root itself is caught and handled by file names? TSX. Root dir not child. That's correct. That's correct. The catch-all root should ideally capture all requests that match the pattern. However, oh, you know what? I wonder about if I just add the n/, does that fix it? No, because the n/ is trimmed. Ooh, Shri has a cool idea. Let's test that out for sure. Let me definitely test that out. I'm going to read through what ChatGPT said, and then I'll give that a shot, Shri. So Shri is suggesting maybe I need double brackets for the ellipsis. That can be super helpful. Okay, so what does GPT say? The catch-all route should ideally capture all requests. However, there's a nuance. It treats the root path differently, especially if there's no explicit index. Okay. Yeah, so we can create a distinct index file. We've already discussed that. We can adjust the routing logic, right? And this is what I was coming to ask GPT about, is if I were to do that, what would I do? And basically GPT says, like, I don't know. Like, you could do this, but I don't know how to do it. Okay, well then we probably shouldn't do it, eh? It recommends creating an index. Okay. All right, cool. So let me try what Shri suggests. And if that works, awesome. And if it doesn't work, we'll make an index. Bam. Oh, we got it. We got it. We got it. Now, why did that work? And let me also, so here it is. Here's the directory listing. Perfect. Thank you very much, Shri. Now let me ask GPT why, basically. A standard dynamic route to an optional catch-all route. Awesome. This is something that I didn't know. I'm wanting to make sure that this doesn't come with any sort of like crazy performance penalties or other gotchas. Okay, let me try to do this. Potato. I want this to 404. If it sends me to the directory listing, that is a problematic catch-all, basically. 404s. Okay, great. Awesome. What's up?
Question.
Yeah. Did you have a shower?
I have that.
Oh, okay.
I would like to go to the grocery store.
Okay.
I think sand is probably easier to take care of while you're streaming.
You can do it. You can do whatever you want. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take Ellie and leave Sam with monster trucks.
All right, cool.
Sound good?
Yeah, can you pick up like energy drinks and a large USB cord?
Yeah.
Thank you.
They're both up, so I'll probably head out in the next like 15.
Okay. This seems basically perfect. We checked about the negative fallback. There's only one other thing I want to check. Tina, chat says they want you to pick them up energy drinks too. All right, I'll just need your mailing address. DM me. Quick reminder, I'm streaming to YouTube as well. Link is in the bio if you want to see the full screen. Okay, the only other thing I want to check, this looks good to me. And again, thank you to Shri. Shout out to Shri Venkatesh. Thank you very much. This seems to work. There's only one other potential concern that I want to check. And that is, will it compile, basically? Will it compile? I don't need to ask GPT about that. We can just test it. Can I still statically compile is my only remaining concern. Yeah, it seemed to work. All right. Can I run the compiled form? I couldn't run it here, but that's okay. That's okay. As long as it passes the preview environment, that will be good enough. Reminder, everyone, we are building Aria's Tale today, ariastale.com, open source game, web game. It's a TCG and a set of tabletop role-playing game tools. Rajesh, hello from YouTube. Happy New Year. Thanks for being here. So you can check out Aria's Tale now, and I encourage you to follow the TikTok. How do I say this? Is it Forche? Forche, thank you for the follow. Okay, so this looks good. Let me now remove the debugging logic. I no longer need the debugging logic. Okay, so when I cannot read property of undefined length. Okay. Length is 0 or length is 1? Where did it fail? It failed at length is 1. Bryant, thank you for the follow. Oh, I don't know how to say that name. Is it Armwhip? How's it going? Thanks for being here. File name is possibly undefined. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So it is not coming through as the game manual magic string. It's coming through, it looks like it's coming through as empty. So can I simply do this and simplify this block and simply do this? Now this says directory listing. It does not say game manual, does it? Directory listing. So we're getting down here. So it is not handled by this case at all, actually. So we can get rid of that code too, potentially. Now, once again, what if I go to potato? Okay. So this comment is not correct. I think I can just throw in that case. I don't think I need to return anything. Oh, okay. I do need to return something. Thank you for the follow. So what was I returning previously, huh? Let me Command Z a bunch of times. I was returning this. Okay, so I'm going to Command C, Command Shift Z. Here I'm going to stage what I have so that I don't need to do the Command Z thing anymore. So this would say that the page is not found. This would say that the page is not found. So how was I previously getting here? Well, that's straightforward. That's straightforward because if the value here is undefined, it will look right at the root. And that's exactly what we want. So what I should do.
Sam said he wants to stay in his room. So
Cool.
okay. All right, love you.
Love you. I think I can just get rid of this block altogether. File name is not iterable. We'll deal with that momentarily. Let me check the potato case. How about the banana case? Okay, so we're still 404ing properly when needed. I think we can just do that. And it wants me to do the nullish. Fine. I think we can just do that, huh? Isn't that simpler? What do you think? So here we go. Regression check all these. All right, gang, we're getting really close to having it working. Getting really close to having it working. And look at all the code we can delete. Yay! The best code is deleted code. Change my mind. The best code is deleted code. Change my mind. One thing, let's see, this might be an improvement. Is it an improvement to do the coercion here, or does it matter? I guess it doesn't matter. It doesn't actually matter. Let's go ahead and do it. Because down here I have a file name .join. We should actually never hit that condition, but whatever. Let's do it here, and then I don't need to do that. Maybe that's slightly better. Love deleting commented code, absolutely. Okay, so we'll click around, refresh, do a bit of a regression check. It's looking good. And now, get rid of some imports we no longer need. Sort the imports. Scan through the page. It's looking good to me. Oh, we can consolidate these. let's see what to do in that case. We don't need this one. Or let's see. Do we need this one? I don't think so. Yay, so we don't need a magic string. That's even better. Do you have any public code on GitHub? I want to take a look at production level code. Yeah, hey, Kevin, I do. So what we're working on right now is totally open source. Actually, basically everything that I do is open source. So if you want to support an open source creator, you came to the right place. So go to ariastale.com and look at the footer. There's the GitHub. Actually, you can get to the GitHub from the heading as well. So Aria's Tale, and you can also go to latterly.io, and this is also totally open source. Thanks for the question. You can sign up to Latterly free to learn to code and land a programming job, but I would encourage you to pay what you can. You'll unlock the advanced checklist that has even more tips to improve your job search. And if you do the premium right now, that will get you a session with me, a one-on-one session, which is usually like more than $50, but I'm trying to grow premium, so you can do that instead. Discounts. So Appalled says, about to start my introduction to Java programming in a couple weeks. Any advice? Yes. My main piece of advice is if you hate Java, don't give up on programming. All right. That's my main advice. Okay. Let me give you some pieces of advice. Pieces of advice for anyone starting a CS, whatever degree, or taking their first or next Java or C course. 1, don't drop out. If college is too hard, switch your major to business. You can still code with that. Okay. 2, if you hate Java, if you end up hating Java or C, don't give up on programming. There are other languages you might still love, cough, like Python or JavaScript or TypeScript. Cough. Okay. 3, if you hate all the things, including Python, it could easily be because the uni teaches it like garbage, not because of the language itself. Okay. 4, social network. It's really important. Get out of your basement and talk to humans. Okay, let's see, what else? Start building your portfolio day 1. I'm serious. Make a GitHub today. Even if you just push a hello world or readme or whatever. Okay, here's my advice. Also, there's my advice. I have about 9 to 10 projects on my GitHub. I linked it to my resume. Do I still need to put individual projects on my resume? Hey, Matthew, awesome job building those projects. Super stoked for you. You do still want technical keywords on your resume. You want to follow the rule of 3. So there's screening tools called ATS, Application Tracking System, and they will scan your resume for keywords. And you want to have the technical keywords that are mapped to the job description. You want them to show up 3 times in your resume to assure that you will be identified as a top priority candidate for that skill set. Okay. So if you have 9 or 10 projects, do you need to describe them all on your resume? No, but you might want to put 1 or 2. And here's what you really want to do is make sure that your resume says Python, JavaScript, React, front end development, web development, full stack, whatever it is. I think it's a very good idea to have a LinkedIn skill certification. Okay. That'll get you the keyword there once and maybe twice, right? Because you can do like a Python skill certification and then a Django skill certification. Well, guess what? You might get the keyword Python twice out of that. You see what I'm saying? So you can put projects on there if you don't have experience so that you have the keywords. That's the story. Make sense? Thanks. Where should this go? I filled out my resume with certs and relevant coursework and some other things. Projects can be their own section. You can also, oh man, you want me to give you a cheat code? Some people are going to hate you for this, but it'll also get you a job. You can list your projects under the experience section. Just fucking put it there. Like, what are they going to do? It's experience, right? Just because you weren't paid. By the way, if anyone tries to tell you that your project doesn't count as experience, here's the very easy way to counter them. What am I doing right now? Me, John, the person like coding in front of you. I'm developing open source. Okay? So if your projects are open source, then it is experience. You're an open source contributor and you're basically like a volunteer. You're like helping the world, right? Now, that's different if your only projects are closed source. And I got to tell you, a solution there might just be to make a new project and make an open source project that actually helps people. And if you have a project like that, nobody should be saying your experience doesn't count. It's like, dude, I'm out here helping people for free. Like, do you tell people who like go like feed people and they're like, working at the food, what do you call it? Food bank. Do you tell them like that doesn't count as experience and devalue them? That's kind of the same thing. Anyway, that's my mental model. Oga watches. Is it worth it to get language specific certain if you have 1 year experience? Corrected, language specific certs. It's not really necessary. I mean, it's up to you. Like, it's up to you. If you're having trouble in your job search, get a cert. If your job search is going well, like, don't just like do things because random guy on the internet said something. Again, remember the goal is to prove your expertise in the skill and to pass the ATS. If you can do that without getting a new cert, then you don't need the cert. The cert should be helping you, not giving you a roadblock, right? Arif, what's up, Arif, over on YouTube? Arif says, hey, John, I have a question. This may be silly or stupid, but is using GPT right for a software engineer? I'm studying software engineering and the professor don't allow it. Good question. So the first thing is everyone uses AI in professional situations today, and it's only going to grow from here. The second thing is don't piss off your professor because the worst thing that you can do is flunk out of college. Okay. So professors lag behind the industry. This is the way it is. I'm sure at some point in the future, they will allow some limited use of GPT. They might still not let you do it on, tests or whatever. It's entirely up to them. They are the professor. Don't ask me, ask them. But I will say, you don't even need to take a college course in programming. So like, I did not get a CS degree. I have a degree in economics. So if your professor is like a huge asshole, just don't let that be a blocker to you getting a programming job. But still, yes, you should be using GPT to code and build your portfolio and for development and all of that stuff. And yes, that is overridden in the context of your particular class if your professor has a rule against it. That's the way to think about this. But the default is, yes, use GPT or some sort of AI assistant, Copilot, whatever it is. Cursor's great. I mean, Cursor uses GPT, but whatever. Last comment here, use GPT-4. Don't use the 3.5. 4 is way, way, way better. It's way better. Please use GPT-4. Matthew says, my professor encouraged Copilot. He's pretty progressive though. Exactly. It varies on the professor, right? It varies on the professor, and they have every right to do what they do. They've been at this for years and they've done the research. By the way, if they haven't, shoot me an email and I will chew out your professor because I have. I have the PhD. I have been published. And I know what a professor should be doing. But if they are within the realm of professional standards, they can write the syllabus any way they please. And you should respect that as the student. Fighting your professor, arguing with your professor is such a bad look. If you're arguing with your professor today, are you not going to argue with your boss tomorrow? And then you'll be out of a job. So learn to respect authority in general, unless it's egregious. So you need to learn the difference between someone, an authority acting in their rightful capacity and an authority going out of bounds. You need to be able to understand that. And if you can't tell the difference, your default position should be to go with it. That would be my recommendation. Give them the benefit of the doubt, as it were. Wouldn't you like them to give you the benefit of the doubt? Then you should give them the benefit of the doubt. There's my mental model. Back to the codes, eh? This thing is working. This thing is working fine. Oh, we were testing eliminating these. Thank you for that. Very welcome, Arif. Thank you for the question. Thank you for being here. We'll go one by one on these. Still working. Great. That broke it. Okay, so this is the entry we need. This is the entry we need. Let's try one more. That also seemed to break it. So do we need 2 entries then? Now it's alive. Sinstrom, what is this, sir? We are building a website, and the website is a game. And to make things even more complicated, the game can be played in 2 ways. But to keep it simple, you can think of this as sort of like maybe like a Yu-Gi-Oh. How about that? Does that work? So there's a trading card game, and there is a narrative universe attached to it. So yeah, something like that. On a website. Open source. It seems like we need both of these entries, which I find a bit strange, but hey, I'm not a robot. You know what? I'm just a mere foolish human. And maybe it is because of the route stripping, right? So at the end here, if I put the slash in the URL, it's going to strip that and redirect me to the naked one. Ooh. Did that work? So this is working. Okay, so we don't need the slash. We just need the empty entry. Great. Good enough to me. Sinstrom says, what language? The answer is React with TypeScript. So JSX is a React file. TSX is a React file using TypeScript. So that is JavaScript with additional type information. Very, very, very good thing to learn. In fact, now it is the default for React. If you build a Next.js project today, in late 2023, and certainly it will be the case next year, TypeScript is the default. Reishi, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate that. Thanks everyone for being here. Happy New Year's Eve, y'all. I'm gonna do, let's see, 20, maybe 20 more minutes. And then we'll take a break and I'll be back on later. So follow the page, follow the YouTube, wherever you're at. If you're over on Twitch. Oh, bummer. Did the Twitch person leave? There was someone on Twitch earlier. Quick, someone go follow my Twitch. If you're on TikTok, a bunch of folks over here. Follow the page and yeah, I go live all the time and love to teach people to code. Even if you already know how to code, it's always good to hang out with other developers, isn't it? We had Shri. Shri was here earlier and helped us out. I love stuff like that. Maybe Shri's still here. I actually don't know if he ever left. Okay, we got rid of the console logs. Gone Pit Bull, what are you making? I just joined. What's up, Gone Pit Bull? We are making Aria's Tale. ariastale.com. So this is and look at the rolly dice. You know you love to see it. You ever played Baldur's Gate 3 or like D&D or RPGs? So Aria's Tale is a TRPG system using AI. So if you ever played D&D, it can be a bunch of work because you have to like have pen and paper and write things down and take notes. We can use AI to do all of that stuff, like remember the stat sheets, calculate the stat sheets. AI can do it super fast, super accurately. So the idea with Aria's tool is to use AI, and the current standard is GPT-4. Maybe in the future that changes. But the idea is that we provide tools and instructions to GPT-4, and that way you can just care about the narrative and taking actions, and the AI system will do the rest. Okay, so that was the starting point. And that basically works. You can check out the game manual and go to the quick start. You can basically see how to do that. The next thing we did is added images, because if you have this generative AI that's like doing all this text, you can make it visually engaging by having the AI tools make pictures. And then we tried video, and the video tools they're just not good enough yet. But next year, I think they will be good enough. And even audio. So you can imagine like a whole anime series that is just AI generated based on you doing an RPG. So that's kind of the goal. And the end goal is also to make a series of novels. So we want to do a book series based on this. Gone Pitbull is clarifying. So it just does the boring stuff for you. Is that the question? The answer is yes. Like that's the idea. Like I want to play a role-playing game. I don't want to be an accountant. You know, I mean, I'm sure there's a kink out there for some people who are accountants that also like role playing. I'm very sure in some corner of like the world, that's going to be a smash hit. But for me, I think for most people, we just want to play a game. And we just want to tell an interesting story and have fun, you know, have snacks with our friends if they're out, if they're at the house, just play a game. But you can also do this asynchronously over social media, which is another thing that's different about Aria's Tale. So your traditional RPG, you need to like either be physically together or at least do a video call is kind of like the new cool way to do it. You can do these like D&D streams. With Aria's Tale, you can do that, or you can play by comment by wherever you want, really. So you can read the game manual and go through the details. You can play on Twitter if you want. Use hashtag Aria's Tale for traceability and observability. But the recommended way is to come over here and use the pinned video. The Aria's Tale TikTok pinned video is the recommended way. Give Aria's Tale a follow. The official TikTok page is new. It's about a week old. And take a look at some of this art. Let me pause. You can see it's a random art roll. Cubism with pixel art. How do I pause this thing? Auto scroll is off. Okay, that paused it. Okay. All right, so take a look at this. This is pen art. You know how like some artists will, or pen and ink. You know how some artists will draw a whole thing just using a ballpoint pen? So the tool set can emulate these art styles. This is one of my favorite. This is cubism with pixel art. If you're into art, that's super mind-blowing. Cubism is its own art style. Pixel art is its own art style. And the GPT was able to take my narrative context. So we're fighting like a lizard monster here. And you can go like read the story if you want. There's like what is it, chapter 3, I think, in Aria's arc. And it took the narrative context and it rolled like the style to visualize it in, and then it drew it, and it looks awesome. And so we have all this amazing art, and I don't want that to go to waste. So now we make a TCG out of it, and that's the latest and the greatest. So you can see the whole evolution there. Started as AI, generative AI game tools for a D&D kind of thing, and it's evolved into there's now 2 different ways to play. I need to work on explaining that more simply, don't I? Sinstrom says, what are you using for your text editor? Is it VS Code? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah, so let me know. You can DM me, you can comment, you can sign up at the website if you would like to play a game, basically. So I can host and the audience can take moves. We can play the game over stream, or you can go to that pinned video I told you about and leave a comment. All right, back to the code. We're cleaning all of this up. Let's stage it. We'll do another once through. Look at this. We've cut a bunch of lines. That's great. All right, this looks good to me. Let me do one last sort of regression check. Yeah. So this is a feature nested game guide. Nested game guide. Oop. All right, let's see if Vercel builds the preview environment. We couldn't run npm run build locally, if you recall. So it will be important to see whether Vercel can build it. Looks like Vercel's had a couple failures, so that's okay. While it builds, oh, thank you for the likes. While it builds, we have a question in the chat. I am a very unexperienced person with the programming world. I would like to make an app/website like you have here. Where do I start and what should I be doing? Great question. You go to latterly.io and you look at the standard checklist and it gives you a step-by-step guide. That's the answer. And basically, you should learn React. So the guide is going to tell you that anyway, but basically you should learn React. And the official React docs are right here. Congrats for your interest. That's going to be great. Any other questions? By the way, if I get, let's see, 4 people, if I get 4 people in any of the chats, let's see, what letter should we drop? Let's drop Y. Drop a Y for yes, and we can pivot from coding to playing a game, or we'll just keep coding if I don't get 4 Ys. If you really, really want to code, you can just say C, drop a C, and then I'll know that people want to just keep coding. Let's look at this build right here. So the next thing we're doing after the nested docs, the next thing would be the gallery. So we have all this art, but you currently can't see it on the gallery. Isn't that annoying? Character portraits would be the next thing we do. We got one Y and one C. Okay, so we'll keep coding, but I'm keeping an eye on the chat. If we get 4 Ys, then we can switch to a game. All right, let's take a look at this. It looks like the build failed. Great, another learning and teaching opportunity. So the npm run build failed locally. It also failed remotely. And that is because of this. A page without a React component as a default exported. Oh, this is such an easy fix. Y times 4. Sorry, I don't think we're going to allow that. I appreciate the enthusiasm. I think we just got to do this. No? I think we just got to... I think we just got to do that. "20 minutes left in today's stream, y'all, and then I need to take a brain break and drink some water. The boy needs to hydrate. Okay, so we got errors on this. Error occurred pre-rendering the Arc Aria page. Ah, awesome. This is a good thing. So these are two different issues. And I'm going to illustrate this, I think. So if you recall, we did some regression testing. We go, game manual is looking good, right? Oh, thank you for the follow, Michelle. We looked at these markdown files. This is looking good. But here's something we didn't do. Where's my nested narrative? That was the whole point, right? The whole point was to have nested narrative here, and it's just not here. So that is the issue we're seeing. I'm so glad the build failed. Also, I don't know if I like this page title, directory listing. I want to say... game guide. I want to say game manual. Game manual. Yeah. This should be title. Now we're game manual. Okay. Let's do tiny commits. We love tiny commits. So that's a small fix for the game manual title. That's not the bigger issue, but that's like a good improvement that we can discreetly commit. So let's do it. The bigger issue is there's two more issues. The first is that I'm missing some list items here. Any item which is a directory, I'm missing it there, and I don't want to be missing it there. I'm not sure if that's going to fix it. Let's see. Nope. One of these was filtering directories right here. This, I think. Yeah, so here it says if it is not a directory, don't replace the last part. That's fine. That's fine. But then I lose my file name at some point. I don't lose it here. So get static paths is good to go. What about get static props? Well, if it's a directory, we are going to find the markdown files under. Yeah, so this is the problem. This is the problem. File names is stripping the .md, which we do want, but then I also want to add folder names. How do I find the ones that are a folder? I think I just don't filter. And it'll replace the MD if it's there at the end. And then if it's not there at the end, no harm, no foul, eh? Voila. So now we have all of our directory items. Gone Pitbull, how did you input a AI database within your code? Was it sort of a link between ChatGPT and your website's code? It's not embedded. It's not embedded. You're going to hate this. You ready? It's low tech. What you do is you click the metagame instructions and you copy it. You should be able to do Command A, Command C. You know what? I need to do a clipboard. I need to do a clipboard thing here. You literally copy it into a fresh GPT-4 and you tell it this metagame instructions. So it's a context priming pattern. A context priming pattern. Let me do that. We can do a copy to clipboard. All right, one thing at a time. So here we are. We are going to show all directory items. You don't even have it in your website. That's correct. The website, it like has a bunch of content basically. It tells you how to play the game, but the game itself is not like built into the website. Currently. What backend languages do you know? Let's see. Ruby, Python, TypeScript, JavaScript. And then what counts as a language? I mean, do you count Bash, Shell, Zish? I used to be a PHP developer. Don't quiz me on it anymore. And yeah, I've been a Java developer as well. Please don't quiz me on it right now, but I can get by in those languages as well. So I would say those are the ones that I know. How did you learn PHP? I started with WordPress. That's actually how I got started programming 10 years ago. Started with custom, started with just standard WordPress, and then you do WordPress plugins, and then you figure out like there's not a plugin for the thing my client wants. And so then you have to either take like a plugin and sort of tweak it, and then eventually just fully just build your own custom plugins at a certain point. So that's how I learned PHP. All right, so this is a fix, and this is don't filter dir list items. Is Node a popular backend to learn for the upcoming year, or Python for web dev? I think Node is more popular. So there are a lot of Python jobs, and many of them are data science or data analysis. So if you just go to like Indeed.com and if you just search for Python jobs, and if you compare the result count to searching for Node, the result count is going to be bigger, right? So that will mislead you. It will mislead you into thinking that for server-side web development, Python is more popular. It's not. You're comparing a language as a whole, including many jobs that are not even software engineers. So when you search for Python jobs, you really need to partial out the data science jobs. And that's when you realize, oh shit, Python is not the best job to land it's not the best language to land a software engineering job. So there's more jobs if you pool together Python engineers and data engineers, data analysts, data scientists, artificial intelligence, MI, ML. If you pool all these people together, the Python number looks bigger. Also, by the way, in JavaScript world, the keyword node just doesn't show up as often as it's used. So you'll have a job that says React. And by React, they mean Next.js. And Next.js uses node under the hood, but they're not like including the keyword node on the job description, right? So you don't want to compare Python to Node. It's a very apples to oranges thing. You would want to compare Python to JavaScript. And if you do that, what you'll notice, it looks kind of like the job count is even. Like, oh, there's pretty much equal jobs for Python and JavaScript is what it looks like. But the problem is all of the JavaScript jobs are software engineering, and some of the Python jobs are software engineering. And when you split those apart, you realize if your goal is to be a software engineer, you should definitely go JavaScript. All right. Great questions, y'all. Gone Pitbull says, is this a personal project or are you a part of a company? This is a personal project. I don't even like the term personal project. It's a community project. It's open source. You can submit a pull request if you want to. But basically, yeah, the story here is basically it's a personal project. So I created this open source repository because I like AI, I like RPGs, and there wasn't a marriage involving me. Like the thing that I wanted wasn't there. So you can just go to ariastale.com and then look for the GitHub link. So it's right there. But if you want the repository name, it's Vanderveer/ariastale RPG. There you go. And there are some good first issues. So, well, I guess we're working on most of them, aren't we? This use image over image. That's a great first issue. If you know a bit about Next.js, you should be able to do this one. And that would be greatly appreciated. Okay, what were we doing? By the way, if you're enjoying the video, follow the page, throw a like on it. Thank you for being here. Happy New Year's Eve. I'll be streaming again later today. Command Z, Command Shift Z, that just reminds me of what I was tinkering with last. We were tinkering with these file names. There were 2 remaining issues that we needed to fix. We fixed one of them. So now that the nested folder name is showing, what the build was telling us was actually that it doesn't work. So if I click in a narrative, these are the discrete arcs. There's Aria's arc, Caleb's arc, Ezekiel's arc, Lunara's arc. There's actually 6 arcs, but I only wrote down 4 of them. So I think if I click any of these, that's the problem. Yeah. So that's what the build was telling us. Kay says, last question, where can I learn about UX UI? So are you just wanting to learn about like design? You want to be a designer? There are a lot of really great boot camps. I think Springboard is a pretty good one. By the way, I have a PhD in economics where I studied the return to alternative post-secondary credentials. And I'm published in the field of basically landing people tech jobs. So those are my qualifications. And one of the things that I did is I described the technical rule for a prestigious boot camp. And a prestigious boot camp significantly improves your ability to land a tech job, where the average boot camp doesn't. So people ask, like, should I go to a boot camp? You need to ask which one. The answer is you should not go to a random boot camp. You shouldn't do it. You might want to go. In fact, it could be a very good idea to go to a prestigious boot camp. And the same holds for certifications and credentials, basically. Don't take a random Udemy course. Don't get a random certification. Get a prestigious certification or credential. That is one that Google made, one that Facebook made. Okay, so your question was about UI UX. Basically, we go to coursereport.com. We're going to look up a prestigious bootcamp for UI UX. So I sort by most reviewed. I want a minimum of 400 reviews, and I want a 4.25 or higher. So Lewagen is fantastic. I don't know if they have a campus in the United States. And I don't know if they have a UI program. But basically, this is the research you need to do. Like, whatever country you're in, I don't know, are you American? Whatever country you're in. So BrainStation has Canada and US. So like BrainStation passes the prestige rule. The prestige rule is minimum 400 reviews, 4.25 or higher. They pass it handily or like easily. But do they have a UI UX curriculum? I don't know. UX looks like they kind of do. So Lisa, who is a UX UI designer, took a digital marketing course. Is what I'm reading here. Like, I have no in-depth knowledge about this, but if that is the case, you could imagine that a digital marketing course might not exactly be the same as UI UX. It could be like sales related or ads, running digital ads and stuff like that. Courses, here we go. They have an AI, cybersecurity, data analytics, data science. So I'm not really seeing that this education provider has there's design leadership. So they have some related stuff. You can take a look. You can take a look if this suits your needs or not. Ask lots of questions before you give them $3,000. We can also see UI UX right here. And so maybe you check these boot camps and say, how many? Yeah, Springboard. I think Springboard has a good one. Anyway, Springboard, I already know because I've looked at them before. They do pass the prestige rule. I want to be able to design my own websites and make them look professional. Yeah, you don't really need a boot camp for that, but I don't know. How much talent with design do you already have, right? So if you have a lot of talent, you might not need a lot of training, but if you don't have your bearings, then yeah, some training could be good. Thank you for the likes. I think I'm going to lose my voice here pretty soon. All right, y'all, we're going to wrap up for now. Oh, well, let's see. Let me see if I can fix this one remaining issue in the next 5 minutes. We're going to do this last issue and then we'll wrap up. Make sure to follow the page. I'll be streaming again later after I get some snacks and a rest and some water and walk around the block because it's important to take breaks. So the remaining issue is that when I look on the third level of nesting, I get a 404. And the reason is to do with the routing. So the routing is assuming that this would be called arcaria.md. I think it is. Let's double check. I think that is what the file is called. So here's arcaria.md. So what's the problem? The problem is that it's nested under narrative and our route has no substring narrative. So this is the problem, basically. No such file or directory. Yeah, it's stripping out this game manual substring. The easy thing to do here would just be to ask GPT. I'm pretty sure GPT can easily fix this. So game manual here is preserved prior to metagame. Narrative is preserved. And now narrative is replaced inappropriately. How is this link generated? Let's work backwards. This link I can see in the lower left. the destination address is already wrong. So it's wrong at the compile step. So the HTML that has been built has a link in it, and that link is wrong. So we asked the question, how is this link built? The answer is this link is built in the same ellipsis page that we're looking at. So here's the ellipsis page. And yeah, where are the links built? I don't know. I don't see an href or an anchor or anything. This will be the case of a index page. So we can dive into here. And now we've narrowed down the error. The error is somewhere in here. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here's the link that is built. And the href, which is the destination location, that value is incorrectly calculated. So that's our bug. And yeah, this is a problem basically is we're ignoring the path. We're only looking at the file name when we should be looking at the file path. GPT would have fixed this like 2 minutes ago, but talking through it is a good thing. So here are file names. Where do these come from? Are they really file names or are they file paths? They are file names. And we know that because if it was secretly a file path and it was just a misnamed variable, then it would create a strange page. Let's see. Yeah, it would not send me here. It would say like narrative arc Aria, basically. So this, there's 2 steps to fixing it. First of all, we need to pass in file paths, not file names. And second of all, we need to use file paths, dot file names. Great. So here is file names. Yeah, I have to change like 5 or 6 different code locations. So I'm just going to ask GPT to do it. Okay, so I'm going to say consider this nested documentation handling page. Here is here is the doc content page. Is it called doc index page? Here is the doc index page content. There is a problem because the doc index page cannot build a link to the destination properly because it only knows about the markdown file name and not the full file path. So here I'm going to say very clearly task, update both components such that the index page receives and uses the file paths rather than just file names. The link built on the index page should support any of these sorts of URLs. And here I'll give it a few examples, and that will conclude the instructions. So we are going to say, here's an example where it's nested to the second level. Here is a working example where it's nested to the first level. And then we'll give it a third. Game manual narrative, Aria. And let's give it another one. And here, I'm just making this up. Let's see. Narrative, side quests. I don't know. Of squirrels. Zarif, yo, your work ethic is crazy. I think the word is unhealthy. I don't know. For me, this isn't work. I'm just playing. I'm just having fun for me, right? Playing games, building games, and then just teaching people. All these things are fun for me. But thank you very much. What did you mean only list projects in experience section if open source? No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. What I said is a recruiter should not push back on your experience if your experience is an open source project. You can fully list your closed source project as well, but if the recruiter pushes back, they might have a point. That's the issue there. It's not that you shouldn't do it. It's just that they might push back on you with an actually good reason. Because recruiters will sometimes try to downplay your experience, and they'll say, oh, like you're a new grad from college, so you don't have any professional work experience. And when we say 2 years of experience for this junior level role, we want 2 years of professional work experience. How is that even possible, dude? You need to include my portfolio experience and my volunteering experience. And so I started building this portfolio when I was a sophomore or a junior. So I do have 2 years of experience. So that's the game that's played. Does that make sense? So if it's hosted publicly on GitHub, you think we can safely list it? Yeah, exactly. Because it's proof for everyone can see it. That's the thing about a closed source project is you could be bullshitting them. You could say, oh, I built this 3 years ago. Well, did you? Did you? Prove it. How do you prove it? If it's publicly listed on GitHub, you have the green squares, the famous green squares, and the commit dates. And you have proof that you've been doing this for years. So it's undisputable. It's unassailable. That's why it's an overpowered cheat code. Do you share any political thoughts on the economy? I mean, sure, but political thoughts on the economy, that's like, do you share like cooking tips on colors? Like, like pick one. Do you want political thoughts or thoughts on the economy? I mean, the economy could be doing much better, right? Is this controversial? And the one of the root causes is the Federal Reserve, and another of the root causes is the like basically the U.S. legal system, the way we tax, the way we spend, the way we regulate import and export and immigration. All of these things have significant impacts to the economy. Political thoughts on our president. I mean, he doesn't strike me as particularly bright, but like, what's the alternative? I don't know. I mean, I think Vivek is kind of interesting, but maybe would be a terrible president. I've never seen him as a president before. Have you? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't plan to vote. Like, so when you do the economic analysis of voting, like your vote doesn't matter too much. So most of this stuff I consider like just a waste of time anyway. Oh gosh, now we're talking about Nikki Haley. Okay, and that concludes our discussion of politics. Like, no, I don't support Nikki Haley. I'll be firmer on that one. So you don't fall right or left. Oh, I'm an anarchist. If you want to know, like, what is my actual view? I'm a Christian. I'm a conservative, but like a real conservative, like Edmund Burke not like Trump or, you know, the guy who eats too much from whatever. I'm talking about Chris Christie. Why not Nikki Haley? Because I don't support war. That's the reason, not Nikki Haley. So I would be a fan if there was less war in the world. How about you? And I'm not a fan of the military-industrial complex and our unaudited, unregulatable Department of Defense. I've only seen economists fall left. Interesting to see a difference. Well, I said I'm an anarchist, right? Is that left or right to you? Are you just saying because I'm a Christian? Oh, there's lots of Christian economists. I hope you don't think that just because you're a Christian, you're not on the left, because that's like not how that works. 2001, she was registered to be a governor. It was covered by AP News. Okay. I don't like, why does that matter? You know? Don't business and corps have more influence than the actual candidates? Yeah, absolutely. Candidates that win just are doing what the super PACs want them to do, and that's how they get funded, and that's how they win. There's lots of research that demonstrates in the US, right? Don't take it outside of the US because different countries have different political systems. We are in a two-party winner-take-all system. That's really, really, really important. One person, one vote. The way that our runoffs happen. All of these things are technically important for our outcomes. And there's research, I think it's out of Princeton, if I'm not mistaken, that just shows that the wealthiest Americans have a disproportionate impact on the political system. Is this surprising to anyone? No. I think if you calmly look at the data, it's clearly understood what's going on, and all of the controversy is in what to do about it. And as an anarchist, I have a straightforward but ludicrous solution, which is get rid of the government. So it's a simple solution, but virtually impossible to implement, and that's why it's considered sort of crazy. But I would be happy if we could just end the Fed. I think that would be a great step forward. Is our bug fixed? All right, let's see what GPT said. Yeah, here's the file path. Okay. File names. It's still calling them file names. These are now full relative paths. Well, then let's call them file paths, shouldn't we? Okay, so I'm copying what GPT said. However, I am going to call these file paths. File paths. And then it has file path, which I'm going to call cur file path, just to be even clearer. Then we get the pretty name. Boom. So that looks good to me. That looks good to me for this page. Anarchists aren't usually religious. Yeah, that one is a whole fun convo. If we have a different stream where we want to talk about, that's very true. That's very true. And I think that would be a really interesting discussion for another time. I am rare in that regard, for sure. I mean, less than 1% of Americans have a PhD, so I'm not exactly normal in a number of regards. Also, have you seen me? I'm like a weird dude. Okay, so this will now be file paths, okay? And we'll work backwards from there. Here we have get static props. Oh, that's a pretty straightforward change. Awesome. We just need to update the is directory, this block right here. Love to see it. Is diversity a bad thing? No, diversity is a great thing. Diversity is a great thing. Girls Who Code has a very good study with Deloitte that shows that there are significant improvements to employee experience and team productivity. This on the concept of gender diversity. For all sorts of organizations, ranging from universities to businesses, all sorts of different organizations experience lots of benefits when more than 33% of the workforce is either gender. So you don't want to have like 90% male or female. You want more diversity, more balanced than that. So here, let's see, this is the new one, file name with extension. And then we'll just call these file paths. We'll just call them file paths. Okay. And I can just replace the old block. So we can just delete this one. Just joined. Can we see the app as it is? Yeah, absolutely. Give me 1 second. Quick reminder, I'm on YouTube and Twitch full screen. Oh, now we're over 2 hours. Bummer. I'm not going to be able to run Opus clips. That's my own fault. Right. So this now needs to have the ability to have file paths. LMNOP. Keep that alphabetical. So file names will be sent. So, oh, there's basically no file names anymore. Yeah, that's fine. So we're always using file paths. Great, even simpler. Looks good to me. Thank you for the follow. Okay, so here's the game manual. This is how it looks, by the way. The person who asked how it looks, ariastale.com is where we are deployed. ariastale.com, you can sign up for free. And you'll be notified when the game works on the browser. But the quick start guide is available for offline play today. That already works. Okay. So we go to the game manual and we go to narrative. Ooh, this is ariastale.com. That's the old one. We go on localhost. We go to the game manual and we go to narrative. And we go to Arc Aria. And this is the last piece we need to fix. Right here. Right here. There needs to be a slash there. Are those graphs, such as the PPF, useless as they are made to learn in econ? No, they're not useless. Well, I mean, some graphs are useless. So it's not like all graphs of economists. It's like not all graphs economists make are useful, right? But the production possibility frontier is an extremely important concept. It's like a really, really important concept. And the graph is useful just to understand what's going on. If you are like a super brain and you can just understand it by just reading an ugly spreadsheet and like you don't need a picture, awesome. Maybe you don't need the graph. But most people, the graph helps them understand what's actually going on. Okay, so here, I need a slash. So the problem is we are on the content page now. We are on the content page now. And the content page is smushing the file name together, basically. So there's like a join somewhere, maybe. What made you transition from econ to CS? CS makes money. And technology, I became increasingly convinced that technology improves society more than policy changes do. That was a major, major factor. So yeah, I live near DC. I worked in DC for years. I worked all the way up to director of research for a political consultancy. We got a bunch of people elected. And policies didn't change. But technology the whole way through was improving people's lives year by year. So then I said, hey, let me just do that. Better quality of life, more income, more impact. Win, win, win. Thanks for the follow. Okay, so here, something is bad. Something is bad here. Here's the title and the content. So content is resolved before we even get here. Okay, so let's look back up here. So something is bad in this content then. And this content is provided as a static prop. So let's go to get static props. Supply and demand only changes so much. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so here, content. Okay, this part is good. This part, something is bad here. Why does the path matter at all? Okay, I feel like I'm wrong again. Yeah, sorry, I'm wrong again. Nothing is wrong with the content page. It's still this page. This path, current file path, split path replace. Let's log both of these. Okay, one or both of these values is messed up. Micro, macro, micro all the way. Micro all the way. You can study the macroeconomy, but if you study the macroeconomy without micro foundations, you are doing it wrong. This is 2023. We have the data now. I mean, in 1950, you could have made a good case that we didn't have the microdata, so you couldn't build such a model. We have the models now. Use the microdata. Use the microdata. Thanks for sharing the live. Okay, so we visit this page, we get this error, but what log do we see is the part that we care about. Oh no, the logs are so bad. The logs are so bad. Here, let's put some white space in there and see if we can see something new. Nope, it's still bad. Okay, page, so the page looks good. That means the URL was built correctly. Isn't that what that means? Let's go back. So here I'm hovering and I'm looking at the URL, which is displayed in the lower left. And the URL is built correctly. Okay, so the problem is right here. I mean, why was I not listening to the thing the whole time? React was literally pointing at the line. So the problem is in this value. That's where the problem is. How about one of these? What if we join the file name? Using slashes. Oh, got him. Let's make sure we didn't break all the things. Okay, now we have the Aria guide. Placebook is working. Narrative. Ezekiel. Quick start guide. Shoo! I think we got it, y'all. Abridged metagame information. Cool. And lastly, the prompt log. It's looking good. Let's make sure we have something in these pages, even if it's just a coming soon. Aria, so Aria's is filled. Calum and Ezekiel is empty. Lunara is empty. Okay, cool. All right, let's get rid of the log now, and that will do it. That will do it. All right, y'all, I hope you'll follow the page. Hope you had some fun watching me code. Thanks for the follow. And if you want to play the game, drop me a comment, shoot me a DM, or go sign up at the website. This is Fix. Leaf node doc content. Leaf node doc content. Happy New Year's Eve. Talk to you later. Bye.